Do you have Christmas decorations up at your house? Well, if not, your neighbors are judging you. Assuming you're watching this in December. If you're watching this in April, your neighbors are judging you if you have Christmas decorations up, but that's not the point of the video. Our physical environments can say a lot about who we are as people. There's a whole bunch of research that shows that we tend to leave what's called behavioral residue in the places we spend the most time. In these studies, they'll take strangers and put them into someone's office or bedroom, and just by looking around at the stuff in the room, those strangers do a pretty good job of guessing the person's personality. The same thing can happen around the holidays. If you look around your neighborhood, you'll find that some houses have decorations up and some houses don't. And it turns out that the kinds of people who are more embedded in their community, who are more sociable, who know their neighbors, those are the people who are more likely to put up decorations. But it's not a perfect relationship. There are plenty of people who are sociable and don't put up decorations, and there are plenty of people who put up decorations and are not the kinds of people that you're willing to mingle with. Some researchers wanted to know whether people make judgments of other people based on whether they decorate their homes or not. The premise was simple. They gave a bunch of participants photographs of houses and asked them to judge the people who lived in those houses just based on the photographs. And the question was, can people pick up on how sociable and friendly people are just based on their homes? They gave people 4 different categories of photos, and before I go into what those were, it's worth knowing that they did know something about the people who lived in the homes in the photographs. They had surveyed those families. Even though they were strangers to the participants, the researchers knew whether the family was relatively sociable and friendly to their neighbors, or whether they were not quite so sociable. So there were 4 categories of photos that participants looked at. Some of them came from houses with families who were pretty friendly, and some of them came from families that were not so friendly. But even beyond that, some of those homes were decorated for Christmas, and some of them were not. So there were 4 categories: Christmas decorated homes of friendly people, Christmas decorated homes of unfriendly people, bland homes of friendly people, and bland homes of non-friendly people. There are a few results to pay attention to. The first is that regardless of who lived in those homes, when people saw photos of houses decked out in Christmas decorations, they judged the families living inside those homes as being friendlier, compared to when they saw photos of houses with no Christmas decorations. So it does seem that we make judgments of people just based on whether there are any decorations at all on the house. There's another really interesting result in this study though, and let's forget about the Christmas decorations for a second and just focus on the houses that were not decorated. Remember, among those houses, some of them belonged to friendly families and some of them belonged to families who actually were not so friendly. And what was interesting is that just based on the photos, people were able to tell which houses housed friendly people and which houses housed non-friendly people, just based on what was on the outside. The third interesting result means we have to bring the Christmas decorations back into the picture. Remember that for the photos of houses that were not decorated, people could tell between the families that were friendly and the families that weren't. But for the Christmas decoration houses, people couldn't tell the difference. The friendly homes looked just the same as the non-friendly homes. It was like those Christmas decorations were a cloak obscuring the actual contents of the homes themselves, meaning that it might be a useful strategy if you are not the friendliest people in town to put up Christmas decorations as a way to trick your neighbors into thinking you're nice. Overall, this isn't just a fun Christmas psychology study. It's a study that tells us something about people and how they judge each other. It shows us that we can judge people based on somewhat limited information, just the spaces that those people find themselves in. Now, sometimes those clues can be pretty accurate. Sometimes they really do help. Like when we look at someone's office, we can tell what their personality is. When we look at someone's undecorated home, we can tell how friendly the people inside are. but those clues aren't perfect, and sometimes they can even be misleading, as in the case of the Christmas decorations on those houses that made it hard to tell between the families that actually were more sociable and embedded in their community and those who weren't. So take it as a lesson that even though you can form pretty quick impressions of people, you might want to hold back on being too sure that you know a person just based on their environment. For more social psychology, subscribe to this YouTube channel, or go to beapeopleexpert.com and find new articles every week about psychological science.